We'll have on stage shortly Padmashri Uorrior, who many of you might know is a visionary and creative and inspiring leader here in Silicon Valley. Until very recently, she was the chief technology officer for Cisco Systems, overseeing a team of 24,000 engineers worldwide. Before that, she was the chief technology officer at Motorola. And Forbes magazine has named her for 2 years in a row one of the 100 most powerful women in the world. Fast Company has also called her one of the 100 most creative people in the world. And she is truly a mindful, visionary, and inspiring leader. She sits on the board of Gap Inc. and is a trustee of Cornell University. But perhaps most importantly, I know, and having spent some time with her, that mindfulness is central to the way that she leads in the world. Joining her on stage with me also for conversation will be Dr. Larry Brilliant. Now, if you're not aware of Dr. Brilliant's work, he has done amazing things in the world. He oversaw the eradication of smallpox on Earth. And at the time where he was working at the World Health Organization and was presiding over this eradication of this infectious disease, at that time, 2 million people a year were dying of smallpox. And today, it's eradicated from the Earth. Which was really part of a mission of compassion and mindfulness that he was charged with by his dear teacher. He went on after eradicating smallpox, as if that's not enough, to found the Seva Foundation, which really has its mission addressing curable blindness in the world through things like interocular surgery and eyewear. And to date, he has led and directed that effort. And to date, they have cured 4 million cases of blindness across the world in developing countries. After that, he went on to be the executive director for Google.org, directing some of the foundation work and the philanthropic efforts there. And currently, he is the president and CEO of the Skoll Global Threats Fund, which has as its mission addressing things that imperil humanity, such as climate change, nuclear proliferation, conflict in the Middle East, and so forth. So, like I said, an amazing leader, both amazing leaders, both who really have at the core of what they do mindfulness, kindness, and compassion. And through these qualities, they've achieved these amazing things in the world. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Padmashri Uorrior and Dr. Larry Brilliant. Welcome. It's great to be up here together.
Thank you.
Yeah. And this is going to be something of a conversation on mindfulness and compassion and its value to each of you. So I just want to ask you both to begin with, what is the role of mindfulness for you? Why is it important? What role has it played for each of you?
I'll start. I think for me, it is really inherent in everything that I do. If you think about work and if you think about business, it is really about relationships. It's really, to me, leadership is about having an impact and creating a community of people that believe in the purpose of what they're doing. And there are studies that show that people actually enjoy work and will stay at what they're doing, not necessarily because they're paid a lot of money, but more so if they feel their work is meaningful. And the way to create meaning in the work that we do means that we really have to be purposeful and be aware of what we do. So to me, mindfulness is how I interact with people every day that I come across in my life, and that includes work, right? Work is just one aspect of what we do in the entirety of our life on this earth.
So we need to remember that mindfulness, meditation as it is, and yoga, and love, and compassion, Those are some of the gates that we have to go through to be in the place that we want to be in. And also, the biggest gate, the most important gate is service. If we don't have service, and Mahatma Gandhi said, work is worship. If we don't have that service, then it's harder for us to get through the gates to the place that we want to go.
Thank you. So when did you both become aware or mindful of mindfulness? How did this kind of come into your lives? You spoke a little bit about, you know, your guru, teacher, but how did this really, how did you become mindful of mindfulness?
But I think more later, much later in my life was when I realized how important it was to be in a place every single day where you are training your mind and your body to be calm under stress. To me, that moment, I literally can point that out, came almost 23 years ago when I lost my mom. I was very close to my mom. She lived in India. I was in the US. I was very focused on my career and my family. And you know, intellectually, we all know what death is and what loss is, but emotionally, we don't know what it is until we experience that. And I think that at that moment, I realized I really needed to find a place where I could go assess what was important in my life, and paid attention not only to myself, but in paying attention to myself and my surroundings, I was able to pay better attention and be kind to the world around me. And so that was sort of the beginning of I practice meditation every single day, even though I travel a lot for my work. And you know, by the way, I also think, at least for me, it is as you can sit on your bed in a hotel room and practice and meditate. There is really no particular method or way. It is really where you find your own calm. I paint, I'm an artist. For me, that's meditative. You know, for some other people, it's going on a walk that could be meditative. It is whatever you do that allows you to turn out other distractions.
And the question is, when you don't have a living guru who tells you what to do, in whom you have faith, and you happen to be on top of a mountain near the Himalayas, and it's a nice day, what do you do? And that's what mindfulness helps you to do, to get the clarity of knowing in the next moment, what are you hearing that is the words for you, your guidance, and what are you hearing, what's the clutter, what's the noise, and how do you discern between them?
Yeah.
As you pointed out, I just 2 days ago left Cisco. One of the things that I will always remember in my farewell party, it was a very emotional you know, farewell from my team at Cisco. They gave me this big poster, and on the poster it said, to our beloved leader who inspires us to do many great things every single day. To me, those words, beloved and being inspiring, mean so much more than all of the titles you read off in the introduction. I think so. To me, being powerful really is about having that kind of an impact. And I think you can have that kind of an impact as a leader only if you put the person in front of you in the center and not yourself. To me, that's the big takeaway, if you will, that I'd love to leave the audience with.
Beautiful. Thank you.
And I got a lot of emails, and I got 2 emails from people working in the same technology company. And they happened both to be young women, and the first one said, I'm so lonely. And the second one said, I'm so lonely. And it just seemed like a logical thing to do that I would introduce them to each other. But I took the cautionary step of writing to each of them and saying, you know, there's somebody else in your company not very far from you who feels like you do. They're interested in learning more about mindfulness and spiritual practice. Can I introduce you to each other? And within minutes, I got the same response from both of them. No, don't tell anybody. So over about a year, I did work with them, and I said, it's probably okay if you meet each other, and you could each keep a secret. It's not like it's the 50s and it's communism and there's McCarthyism. I mean, it's not quite like that, you know. And they did, and they met each other, and they started bringing other people together, and they formed what we know in India as a satsang, or in Buddhism as a sangha, a community of people who started sharing best practices. Don't we do that in our worlds? Sharing best practices. And the best practice is mindfulness, and the best practice is yoga, and the best practice is compassion. And their curriculum was a little bit different, but they still met in the same halls, and they were able to incorporate in their life. So that's what I would say. From the other side, if you're starting, gather people around you that you love, that you trust, that are on the same path, and magic happens.
Right.
All right.